Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden and welcome to the Dig Plant Water Repeat office. It is not quite set up yet, but that's okay. It's an office, which I'm really excited about. And I do want to say you all will probably hear my favorite thing in the room, which is the air conditioner. It is 105 degrees outside. It is so hot, and I made the mistake of not turning the air conditioner on in the morning. So I came out here and I tried filming this video without the air conditioner on so it would be quiet, and I was sweating bullets. It was way more distracting than having the air conditioner on. So I apologize about the sound. So, okay, here's a little update on what's going on. So we moved in yesterday. Last night was the first night that we slept at the new property, and it was glorious. It was so amazing. At night, the sunset was back here over the barn, the old barn that's in the property behind us. It was so beautiful, and it was so quiet, and even the morning was quiet until the goats started screeching. I mean, literally screeching. It must have been feeding time. It was cute, but it was also like, oh my God, what is that? And then once we realized it was the goats, it was pretty funny. So it's going to be an adventure living next to goats, I think, but totally worth it. It's so nice being out here. So today has been, we've been running to the store, getting a couple things, getting deliveries. We have to finish getting all the stuff out of the old properties. Jason had to work today, so we had to go see some patients. So it's kind of been all over the place. So I don't have a full project to show you all today, but I did want to talk to you about a couple things, and I also wanted to talk to you about what's going on with our irrigation system. But before I get to that, this morning, I checked my phone and I checked my stats, and I saw that I am over 49,000 subscribers on my channel. And that is incredible. That is so amazing, everyone. I just want to thank you all so much for all your support, for watching my videos, for commenting on my videos, and for subscribing. I really, I cannot tell you all how much I appreciate it. It is a dream that I get to do this for a living, right? Like creating content for a living and being able to garden and kind of tell my story. It's just been the most fun. I can't even tell you all, and I have to thank you all because it's because of you that I get to do this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I thought, what's a good way that I could thank all of you? And of course, just like everybody does, they do a giveaway. And I don't want to bore any of you if you guys are not interested in giveaways, but I think you'll be interested in this one. It's a pretty good one. Once I hit 50,000 subscribers, I am planning to give away to 5 different people. I'm planning to give away something in my merchandise store. So my merchandise store, it's digplantwaterrepeat.com. There's a shop tag. I have Dig Plant Water Repeat shirts in 3 different colors, stone, natural sage, and natural heather. I have them all in stock, sizes extra small to 3X. And then I also have the garden green hat that I'm wearing today, and then the natural hat that I wear on my channel pretty often. So what I want to do is once I hit 50,000 subscribers, I am going to post on the community tab in YouTube a link. Now the only way to get the community posts is if you are subscribed to my channel. So I just wanted to say this just to make sure you all are subscribed. I actually do post a lot on the community tab, community posts, just to kind of update you all. Like if I'm not gonna have a video the next day, I will put it on my community tab or community posts why I'm not gonna have the video and not to expect it, or if something happens. When we lost our poor pets, Dwight and Stanley, I let you guys know on there, and you guys were so sweet about it. But anyway, I'm gonna post this giveaway on that community tab. And what it is gonna be, it's actually gonna be a link that I'm gonna have you guys click on. It's gonna be like Google Docs or Google Sheets or something like that. And it's just gonna be a place where you can put your name, your email, and your mailing address. And then you can pick out which which item you want from my shop. And I'll pick 5 of those submissions, and then I'll send them out to you all on me. You don't have to pay for shipping or anything like that. I just wanted to tell you all that just so that you'll have access. And for those of you who are watching this and are not subscribers, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. And then you'll have access to this giveaway. The reason why I am doing where you click on it is because I've tried doing the, you leave a comment and I'll contact you, or leave your name in the description. I actually did a giveaway for Power Planter last year, and I put the name of the winner in the description, and then that person never contacted me, never got back to me, and the giveaway never happened, right? So nobody got their Power Planter set, which was really unfortunate. So I just want to make sure that I can get a hold of you all once I hit 50,000 and once I pick those submissions. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. As soon as I notice that it hits 50,000, I'll probably notice in the morning because I'll be checking, I'm sure. As soon as you notice that, please submit. And again, thank you all so much for subscribing and for supporting me and my family. We really, really appreciate it. Okay, that's it for housekeeping for the channel. I just wanted to say that to you all, so you all have a chance to get in the giveaway and you don't miss it. So the thing that I wanted to show you all today is my irrigation. I don't want to call it a disaster. It's not a disaster. It's fine. So when I came and I looked at the house, I went around and I made sure that there was irrigation, and I made sure that there were sprinklers and irrigation tubing all around the property before we decided we wanted to move here. Once we moved in, I think you all saw on the video where I was pulling out the rose bushes, the irrigation system it's a mess. It is an absolute mess. There are so many breaks, and there's so many cracks everywhere and leaks everywhere, and it's basically been jerry-rigged together really poorly. And so I actually called an irrigation guy to come out, and it's the same irrigation guy that came out to my last property when I wanted to add 2 more zones. And I asked him to come out and kind of look at it and give me advice on what I should do. And even before he came out, I had a feeling that I needed to replace the whole system, that would be the best way to do it, especially because it's so important to me to have the irrigations work. And he came out and he looked around a little bit, and he basically said, I can tape it together and I can make it work, but I can't promise you that there's not going to be cracks or breaks here and there, or we can redo the whole thing. And so that's kind of what I suspected already. So we are actually redoing the whole system, starting from the manifold, replacing the valves, and then replacing the pipes to all the different zones. So let me take the camera out there. It's going to be really hot. I'm just preparing myself. It's going to be really hot, but let me take you all out there, show you what he's worked on today. He just left, and then he's coming back tomorrow. He'll probably come back for the next couple days, just so I can show you what's going on. And what he's doing is he's just putting in like the structure of it, and I'll go over this once I get out there. He's just putting in the structure, and then I will do my part, which is connecting basically the spaghetti tubing, or the 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch tube, 3/4 inch tubing, to the main lines. So wherever I plant a tree, or wherever I plant a plant, I'll still be doing that part of the irrigation. I'm not having him do that detailed of the irrigation. I'm just having him do the main lines so that I'll be able to tap into them. So let me take the camera out and I'll show you. Okay, let me take you around to the north side of the house. This side is eventually going to be my secret shade garden. You can see it's the north side, so I already have some shade from the house, but then I am going to put up living walls, like fences that I'm going to grow honeysuckle on, and then have a big archway right here. So the honeysuckle is going to cast some shadow in here. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to plant, like hostas and honeysuckles and some like southern sword ferns and all the really beautiful shade stuff that I love. And it's going to be, I feel like this is where I'm going to be able to plant it. So I'm very excited about my shade garden. But in the meantime, I have this mess right here, which I'm actually pretty excited to see. This is a thing of beauty to me. So those of you who saw my video earlier this week, I think it was Monday that it came out, the manifold system, the valve system used to be right here, and it was above ground. Here in California, we don't have to worry about any freezing. So, you know, all of our stuff can be above ground, and a lot of it is above ground. Just in case you guys are all thinking about that, I do live in California where we don't freeze, or if we freeze, it's like a light freeze, maybe once or twice a year. So it was above ground, and it had this box over it that obviously was built very, I mean, it's sturdy, but it's very dangerous. So I'm excited to be getting rid of it. Raul, the irrigation contractor, he came and took a look at everything, and he suggested that if we were replacing anything and everything anyway, which I wanted to replace, he suggested putting it underground and over here so it's not so much of an eyesore. And I loved that idea, and we definitely said yes. So I didn't technically have to replace the valves, but the valves were probably from 1994, which is when the new addition was built. I don't think I even told you all this. I think I told you on Instagram, but not on YouTube. We found plans, house plans, and we found that part of the house, the bunny bungalow and over, and the garage and everything like that, that was the original house. And I don't even know when that house was built. The addition from here, the whole area that we're living right now, that whole area was an addition onto the original house, and that was built in 1994. And it took me a second to realize 1994 was 30 years ago, if you can believe it. 30 years ago. So everything is old now, 30 years old. Even though 30 is not old, by the way. but it's old for a house, okay? So I figured, yes, let's replace all the valves. Let's start fresh. Let's make sure they're all working, and they're all working really, really well. So Raul came and he dug all this out today. He got rid of the old manifold system, and I'm trying not to fall in the hole here. This is my new system, which is a thing of beauty, which I know it doesn't really look like it, but it is a thing of beauty because I know it's new and I know it's working and I know all the wires are going to be connected properly. Even in our old house, it was pretty well taken care of. I had to go through and I had to reconnect a lot of wires to a lot of my valves in my system. So, it can happen even in an area that is pretty well taken care of. And so that's why I'm kind of excited to have a whole new system. So I just wanted to go over, for those of you who aren't familiar when you look at something like this, or maybe you've seen this in your garden if you live in a hot area like I do and you have to rely on irrigation. Those of you who live in cooler areas or like England, the United Kingdom, lucky you don't have to worry about this, but this is like a lifeline for us gardeners here in hot areas. So this is the main line. These are adapters that these are called siphon valves right here. And these siphon valves have wires connected to them, and the wires all connect to the controller box, and then the controller box will be connected to, either buttons that you can push to turn on and off or to program the system. Or in my case, I'm using the Ratio system that I absolutely love. It's a smart sprinkler system or something like that. That will connect to my phone, so I can use my phone to turn these valves on and off. So basically, when the signal comes to the wire to turn on the siphon valve, the valve will start going, and then it'll come through this thing right here. This thing right here is a filter and a backflow preventer. And what that does is kind of what it sounds like. It filters out all the water to make sure there's no junk getting into the system. But then if we have a crazy amount of rain and say it floods or something like that, when you have a backflow preventer, you're making sure that none of the dirty water from the flooding or whatever gets back into the system. And whether you're on city water, city system, or whether you're on a well system, you don't want any of that stuff getting back in, because that, might end up in your showers or your toilets or something like that. So that's really important to have those. You want to have those on. So basically the water will come out through here. It'll come out the main line. So coming this way for me. And then the controller will turn on one of the stations or one of the valves. It will turn on here. The water will come out, go through the filter, and then go through the pipe. And we are using 1-inch pipe here because a lot of times you can use 3/4 inch pipe or even 1/2 inch pipe. to get as the main lines, but because we have such a big area, we're going to use 1-inch pipe to get to each of the different zones. So basically the 1-inch pipe is going to be connected to each one of those valves, and then they're going to trench areas for each of the different zones. So let me show you all the zones. So one of the zones is the zigzag planter and the 3 big planters right there. 2 zone is the long border over there on that side. 3 is going to be the center island. 4 is going to be back there where I'm going to put a lot of my annuals and stuff. 5 is the orchard, and then 6 and 7 are going to be for the backyard. So it's something, I'm going to stand in the shade. I am hot. It's something to remember. The more zones you have, the more specific you can be for watering your plants, right? Which is really important. And so the more specific you are for watering your plants, you can save money and save water by not over watering some plants that are on the same zone as other, like say if you have a zone and you have hydrangeas on them and lavender on them, there's only so much compensation you can do with putting the different size emitters on each of those tubes. There's only so much compensation. So you kind of want to run it for a certain amount of time to save the most amount of water. That's why it's really good to have separate zones. The other thing you want to think about is that there's a finite amount of water pressure available, especially for those of us on well. There's a very finite amount of water pressure. And so if all 7 of these zones were going at once and you were watering everything in your garden all at once, there wouldn't be enough water pressure there wouldn't be enough water to get to everywhere where you need it to be, because it would just be spread too thin. So to deal with that, that's why you have zones here, stations. And so I have 7. You can have as little as 2 in a manifold, or you can have I don't know what the maximum amount is, but I'm sure it's a lot. But basically you turn off 6 of the 7 and then 1 goes off at a time. And that's how you have enough water pressure to get to wherever you want to take the water. Now there still are limitations to that. There's limitations for how far you can take the tubing, right? And that depends on how the diameter of the size tubing. So we are using 1-inch diameter tubing. So that means we're going to have more pressure for longer. The smaller you get, like when you get down to 1/4-inch tubing or spaghetti tubing, you're going to have less pressure for a shorter amount of area, just because it's harder for the water to get through that small diameter of pipe. And then the more emitters you have coming off, or sprinklers you have coming off that one particular system, that's going to take more of the water, and then you're going to have less and less pressure the more emitters that you have. So these are all things that you need to think about when you think about your irrigation system and what you think you're going to need. The other thing that I am having Raul do is I'm having Raul take away the sprinklers. I have sprinklers to all my orchard trees. See under there? I have a sprinkler right there, and I have a sprinkler all around. And sprinklers are just about the least efficient way of watering anything, because not only does it get to exactly where, you want the water to go to a certain spot, and you want the water to permeate the soil and get to the roots, which is where the plant is going to take it up. The sprinkler, not only is it going to, the heat is going to evaporate it, but it also is not going to go to the right spot. And then it's going to, you can see there's like, weeds and leaves all around here. So it's basically watering the weeds and leaves first before it gets down into the soil, which is where you need. So it's so much more efficient if I were to take out the sprinkler system and have a drip system around this orange tree. And that will save me water as well. And it will save me water pressure. So I'll be able to take this zone even further. Now, unfortunately, I can't, Jason can't, and Raul can't, sorry about the wind. We cannot find any irrigation at all in the center island. None. So what we're gonna have to do is we are going to have to drill into the driveway right here and make kind of I don't know, a ditch or something. I don't know what you would call it, a crack basically, so that we can put the pipe, the 1-inch pipe through here, so that we can get irrigation to the center island. And I need irrigation to the center island, right? If I'm going to plant anything here other than weeds, I need irrigation. So that is a big job. That's something that needs to happen. It was funny. I asked Raul today if he could cut right along this crack, because that, you know, I have to patch this crack anyway, and then that, you know, we could patch it all at the same time. And he said yes. So that was pretty nice. So that's where it will go, where it will reach the center island. That will be its own zone. So when I turn on zone 2, station 2, all of this area will turn on for irrigation, and that's how I will be able to water whatever plants I have here in zone 2. Whew, I am so hot. I gotta go back in air conditioning. So much better. It's so hot today. I do not know how those guys work in the heat. They were here probably like 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. and they were working outside all day. And I mean, at least it was in the shade. It was on the north side of the house, but goodness, it's hot. So I will stay in here in the air conditioning. So I hope that little overview of irrigation was helpful for you all. I feel like it's important to know, you know, especially if you have to deal with irrigation in your garden. I feel so much more confident now that I understand all of it, so that when I call someone to come help me, or when I'm trying to figure out the irrigation myself, I kind of know what I'm looking for, and I know what I'm looking at, and I understand the process of irrigation. And it is very intimidating, and it's very confusing if you just come and you look at that big mess of valves, like what am I looking at, right? But if you really break it down, it makes sense which each piece is and where it goes and why you need to have it. And I just want to make sure that you all understand that, you know, when I'm working with it and when you see other people working with it in your garden, it's not that hard. It's not, you know, I don't want to replace the valves myself because I don't want to mess up, and I don't want to do that kind of digging or anything like that. But I do understand kind of what's going on, and I can communicate with Raul about it, and I can communicate with Jason about it, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So it just makes life a lot easier if you're a little bit knowledgeable about what you're working with. And I think if you're going to work with an irrigation system, be knowledgeable about it. So I do have other videos for after you have this part. After this part is done, and then you start connecting the smaller tubing, whether it's 1/2 inch or spaghetti tubing 1/4 inch, and then connecting the emitters. I do have other videos for that. So I will link some of those down below if those of you are working on doing irrigation yourselves. And again, it's not difficult once you understand it. I don't like doing irrigation, but I know how important it is, and I would be lost without it. So it is something important. So anyway, that is what's going on today. The irrigation guy is probably going to be here for the next couple days. Our goal for the next couple days, other than that, is I want to get this office set up for sure. I want to get the living room set up and the girls' bedroom set up. School starts next Tuesday. Oh my gosh. First day of school for them is next Tuesday. So we've got to get all this stuff up and, you know, and ready to go for them. We've already done clothes shopping and backpack shopping and all that kind of stuff. But I just want to get their rooms set up so that they're ready to go for school, so they feel settled and all that kind of stuff. And then I have lots more projects going on. I have some raised beds going in back here, raised beds going in behind me, plants, you know, Robbie's gonna come, we're gonna plant that willow tree, so a lot of fun stuff happening. But today was just kind of tying up a little bit loose ends, and they're not even tied yet, so just bear with me. And again, thank you to all of you for subscribing, and let's all cross our fingers that we hit 50,000 pretty soon. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.